I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dave. We're from Revocation. Put your horns up!
Live from BB King's Joshua Theater for Horn Sour Rocks. I'm here with David from Revocation. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Awesome set. Very impressive. First time I see you guys, I had heard so much about it. Last time you came, there was something else going on, but I'm glad finally I get to see what everybody's talking about. As our camera brother here, Steve, was saying, you got the chops. Tell us a little bit about when you started to play guitar and the dudes that you were watching. You're like, man, that's what I want to do.
For me, it was Joe Perry from Aerosmith. I remember I was like, 10 or 12 years old, just watching an Aerosmith video, and he was like ripping on the Les Paul with like some smoke behind him, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I had my mom go out and buy me a practice guitar, and from there I just played a lot. I ended up going to an arts high school in Boston, so that was my first introduction to like jazz. So I played in the big band there, and also some smaller jazz ensembles. And then I went over to Berkeley after that and studied there, got my bachelor's degree. And all the while, it's kind of been back and forth between, the academic, learning and just, sitting in my basement learning solos too. So it's kind of half self-taught, half, learning, the theory and all that kind of stuff.
You're saying that better time than last time. What was that? The energy of the public, or just in general, you guys are getting tighter and tighter at the end of the tour?
Yeah, I would say the latter. It's always fun to see that happen as you go along. It's like the little things that just get better every time. That's what's exciting when you're in it, doing it every night.
And I would say that from the quote-unquote newer bands, because you guys came out in 2006, you have a very technical and original sound, which is refreshing. So why don't you take us around the inception of the band and when you kind of decided to kind of go a different direction than, kind of like, let's say, against the grain?
Sure. Well, we've been a band for a real long time, 11 years, and, we grew up together making music. We learned how to play music together, and then in 2006, we were like, okay, let's get serious, let's do this well, and that's when we changed our name to Revocation. And, we just wanted to, ultimately, like, the basic directive behind the band was to take the energy and the power that we felt from the old school stuff and bring it into modern production, bring it into modern techniques and styles, and merge those two things so that, what we were coming up with was true to its roots, but also pushing limits and creating new style.
And on the heavy metal side of things, not just necessarily guitar players, but what were the bands that you were watching and you said, you know what, I want to be on stage one day ripping? Instead of playing, other music, you said it has to be metal.
Mm-hmm. What got me first kind of thinking about metal was Guns N' Roses. Just, I liked the hard rock, the edge to it. I could hear there was something different. It had more attitude. It was more pissed off. And then from there, it was Pantera. I saw the Walk video when I was a little kid and was like, whoa, my God, they look so tough. And then as soon as the Dime solo came in, I was just head over heels, just like in love with that band. So, I bought every record, tried to learn every riff, learn bits and pieces of the solos. And, that really helped me as a player in terms of my rhythm and also like my feel for my solos. And then from there, there were just so many other bands, like X-Hoarder was a band that I really love. Into like the death metal realm with like, Cannibal Corpse, of course. Some of the more proggy stuff with like Atheist. And then like Gore Guts is one of my favorite bands. I gotta give a shout out to Martyr. They're from Canada. And that band is just totally berserk. So there's just too many to say. Decibel Omega for black metal. I've been really digging their new CD right now. So much good stuff out there. It's just a matter of like, doing a little bit of research, and then it's like unraveling a ball of yarn or something. And just keep digging. There's so many bands that just keep coming up that just are totally mind blowing.
And of course, musically speaking, Revocation has been doing this for 5 years strong, because since you came out, maybe it was because of the status of the scene where you guys come from, Massachusetts, it was like on the rise. And I'm sure that's been very helpful to you guys, but also I think in anybody who's heard you guys or watched you guys practice, and you've created your own style within, your influences and your, well, we can say sounds. Take us a little bit into like each record and what do you think has been the difference, especially with the new album compared to the previous ones?
Well, Empire of the Obscene, that was our first record, and on that one, we kind of had like a death thrash sort of bass that we were working off of, but we were throwing in little bits of progressive elements here and there, whether it was sort of, a couple odd time signatures or what have you. It's, a very, very heavy record. Moving on from there, Existence is Futile was the record that we put out for Relapse. So that when you can kind of hear us, experimenting more. Dismantle the Dictator is a good example of that. That was the kind of a song that was, we did the video for it and all that kind of stuff, and it's got some weird kind of, almost like a proggy kind of solo, kind of like primacy sounding. And there's other songs that have like some different experimentation on it as well, whether it's different voicings that we're using or just dissonances in the chords. And then the newest one, there's a little bit of everything. I mean, it's still bass and death metal and thrash metal, but there's elements of black metal on it. There's elements of grindcore. There's elements of just straight up rock and roll. One of the songs has a Hammond organ solo on it and a horn section. So there's so many different elements to our sound. We try not to just stick with one style because we're influenced by so many different styles of music. So we really try to incorporate that in a way that is smooth and organic rather than trying to force it. And that's just how we write. We can't really help it. We're just such fans of so many different types of music. We're not content just doing like, okay, here's 45 minutes of blast beats and that's it. We want to try and mix it up. And I think from a writing standpoint, it adds a lot to music dynamically as well. Whether it's even, it can be intense, but it can also have, we play in major sometimes too. Like a lot of bands, only maybe just stick to minor or just, sound as evil as possible. Sometimes throwing in some different, major passages kind of serve to give it like an epic quality. And then when it goes back to the minor, it makes it sound that much more evil by contrast. So, using contrast, using dynamics, certain things that, maybe some metal bands don't play around with a lot, we try and incorporate that into our style.
How influential was everything that was going around you guys in the Massachusetts scene when you were growing up?
It was hugely influential. Like, I count some of my favorite concert experiences in my life, even after all the awesome touring that we've done. Those, like, sweet local shows with my really close friends who came up with us and really ate a lot of shit to get to where we needed to get.
Right, and what I like about that particular scene for anybody watching is that you guys all have helped each other out, because you see this band member with that band member, kind of like everybody built a scene together around, not necessarily a sound, but around the people that are in the scene.
Well, I think that you've definitely touched upon a really important point. People lose sight of the most important thing in whatever you're doing, especially in creative works, is the people. It's the bond between the people and how they interact. That's what makes any creative product interesting. Whether it's, a scene, a band, one person and who influences them, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good thing when you finally put out the record and then you get the sort of reaction, which is like, oh, every song makes sense together as a package instead of like, oh, one song here and then the next thing you know, you're like on the next record.
Yeah, totally. We like to have our songs not just be like interchangeable. We want each song to have its own personality and to have a flow to it. The first song and the second song of the new record, are kind of faster paced, but the aesthetic of them is totally different. Same thing with every song. It just has its own personality. We want it to be Revocation. At the end of the day, we want it to have its own, be under that Revocation umbrella. But at the same time, we want each song to stand out on its own as its own thing.
We want people to love every song. We want people to feel it. I just hope that our newest one is our best one. We're all growing as people, and I want our creative products to reflect that growth and to show how awesome it is what we're doing, how much fun we're having and how much we love it. We want to spread that love through our music. So hopefully people can feel that. And we're just growing in power.
Of course, with many, many more years to come. That's the cool thing, about you guys being a young band, being on a tour with a band like Chimera who has so many years of history. And, this is not the first big tour you're doing. You're doing more tours next year. So I think that's pretty exciting that you're kind of like grabbing the torch and going and going and going. And you have a lot of years and, to go. Yeah,
absolutely. We have the benefit of being fairly young and still having a lot of experience. And I think that is very valuable. And I'm just really excited to continue to bring our music to more people, to help people feel good. That's what we want to do, is just make people happy with our music. And that's what we're striving to do with our live music and with our recorded music.
Yeah, I want to wish you the best of luck. We are getting around the holiday season, so whatever you celebrate, have a great holiday. I know after this extensive tour with Chimera, you want to go home and relax for a little bit and prepare for 2012, because I heard already some plans that you guys are going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, we're going out in February. We can't announce the tour yet.
And then we have some more early spring touring that's going to be coming. And I'm sure the summer will be really busy too. So, look out for new media coming from us. A new promo video might be coming soon.
And those tours are in North America? Are you going to Europe? Well,
the next main tour is a North American tour. Yeah.
we can't talk about it yet, but stay tuned. Any last final words for your present fans, for future fans? Anybody watching right now?
Yeah, check out the record, Chaos of Forms. It's out now. So, pick it up. And
come out to the shows and hang out with us. We promise we will have a fun time with you. And rock on.